I can see a great opportunity in which partnership between government and corporates, which is actually happen through policy, but also on operational level. Several ministries of the Government of India, like the Rural Development and others, are actually working on the ground, not necessarily through central government alone, but through state governments and also local self-governments. If you can have a partnership between corporate and those government agencies, it could actually help transforming these ideas into reality.
The New Companies Act permits companies to come together and pool their CSR funds to drive high-impact transformational projects, and significant scale can be achieved through collective implementation and monitoring.
For the industry to create an impact and leave a mark. So let's be inventive, let's be creative and possibly disruptive, because all this will do good.
It's a collective responsibility. We need to reduce processes. We need to build up an atmosphere of mutual trust. The demeaning word of donor and beneficiary somewhere have to go away.
We are looking at bringing the communities, bringing government, bringing the ministries and CSR funding into a development agenda over 2, 3, 4 years, which can support communities being on water, being on education.
The CSR legislation now offers a unique platform for companies to innovate. It is encouraging businesses to spend on setting up incubators for new businesses in academic institutions.
When you're looking at innovation in CSR, it has to be a problem worth solving, and it has to be a problem that's being faced by people at the base of the pyramid.
So we could think of innovation as something that each one of us sitting here can do, because you can find a new application for something that exists already. That is the quickest path of innovation. Find a new domain where it can be applied. Find a new process that can be. We are wonderful in process.
The legislation allows you to take up what you might call pilot projects, just to test the technology that you have. At present, the law does not permit you to fund the technology itself, and maybe that is a limitation.
Any activity which promotes, say for example, poverty eradication, or for that matter, livelihood enhancement projects, and which employs innovation in relation to execution of the project is a CSR activity.
The role of the government is to create an ecosystem, right? Is to create the right thrust in the economy which pulls and pushes them up. And what is the role of people like us? To execute it and to take it forward.
If I were to summarize it in one line, it is very clear that the regulator, the lawyer and the auditor all think that CSR funds can be used for breakthrough innovation irrespective of the outcomes.
CSR is an investment needed to compensate for the development that we are doing at the cost of environmental damages and other natural resource damage.
And therefore, to expect that this little amount of money will build Taj Mahals everywhere is going to be a problematic issue. And there is often a problem when CSR spending comes with very high unrealistic expectations. So that's something that we need to keep in mind.
The 2013 Act was very visionary. Guidance is most welcome. Interference is not. I think companies operate in a free market environment and have done exceedingly well. I believe that if social responsibility is given the space in corporates, I think we are going to do wonders.
2% is only manifestations of that desire that let a larger number of corporates come and join in nation building. That was the intention of the government.
If there are these proof of concepts that are done as CSR and they're kind of proven, I think there should be some mechanism for government to take over and run it to scale. I think scale is something that one cannot try and achieve by corporate social responsibility.
We understand scale, but we're also humble enough to understand that we don't understand the sector, social sector as well as we should. So we've been a great believer in partnerships. So whether it's in business,
we realize we need the private sector to help us get to where we want to get, and that is innovate, design, and come up with really effective solutions.
To add value in these villages, typically like in those old days, so if there's cattle that's happening, then why don't we build the best dairy products, whether it's butter, cheese or whatever, and bring this value addition in these rural areas rather than trying to create economies of scale in the urban cities.
So what we have devised is a machine, a telescopic rod, which from the bottom, which can be actuated, and it shears the mango from top, and it comes down sliding through a conveyor safely on the ground. So we have sold about 150 units in this last season.
Toilet Board Coalition offers both of those. The mandate is to actually see sanitation not just as something that is a problem to be addressed, but rather by the government, but rather the private sector really figuring out how to get the maximum value through this chain.
Mira mobile integrated resources for women, and our first set of tools were like talking toolkits which will talk to women and in their own native language on basic mobile phones on issues like prenatal care, immunization, neonatal care.
Yuva brings a completely different dimension to how they develop leadership skills in young women.
Development NGO using football. The focus was youth, and the girls became even more interested than the boys, so we started focusing on girls.
I want! I will! I can! What you can? Whatever you want to do.
Johara Johara Vido Chalan